creatine. I wonder why people aren't around and I'm trying to sell. Hey, what's cracking, guys? Omar Yusuf here. Just, interesting enough, here at the school I went to for grades 7 and 8, here to drop some knowledge. I want to talk about why there's so much bad information in the fitness industry. And you see, there are two distinct categories. Category number one, absolutely bad information. So information we know is BS. So if someone tells you, hey man, you need to eat tilapia in order to thin the skin when you're losing weight, we now know that's BS. We could call it out. So in an absolute sense, it's bad information you should not follow. And in the last 5 to 6 years, the fitness IQ of the industry as a whole has really increased, thanks to a lot of different individuals contributing a lot of good information. I don't want to talk about that category. I want to talk about why there's seemingly a lot of bad information in the fitness industry. And that second category is basically because a lot of information is context specific. And I'm going to be coming back to that phrase because it's very important. You see, what a beginner needs to do is different than what an intermediate lifter needs to do, which is different than what an advanced lifter needs to do. And we could talk about technique all day. I hear people all the time will see a squat tutorial. I'll put one up, or Alan Thrall, and someone will say, but wait a second, I'm like, Alan, what about how Clarence Kennedy squats, or what about this individual? It's like, well, wait a second, that information is context specific. Are you a weightlifter? Do you want to be a weightlifter? If so, then the high bar squat you need to do versus a low bar squat. Squat depth, you probably need to be squatting lower. So there's a lot of different variables in terms of your training intensity, your frequency. A barbell is an opportunity for you to use it in order to reach your goals. So how one individual, one person might teach the lift will be vastly different than someone else. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It means that it works in that context. And so once again, you'll see that I've posted, about 1,000 videos over the last 10 years. And sometimes some information will seem to contradict another video. And that's because I might be talking to a beginner. If I say, hey man, you don't need to track macros. You're a beginner. You need to just eat food. I say that in one video, and then the second video I say, as an intermediate, you really need to find out your carbohydrate tolerance, right? Do you respond well to carbs? Do you not respond well to carbs? You should be tracking your macros now over time to find out what works right for you. So that's two different pieces of information, advice, and if we're not listening carefully, you think to yourself, wait, you said don't track macros and then track macros. Which one is it? I'm gonna throw up on the screen some major differences between a beginner lifter, an intermediate lifter, and an advanced lifter. And this should help some people out, but it also relates back to form. It relates to how you should bench press, how you should squat, how you should deadlift. And I don't believe in dumbing it down so much to the point where find what works right for you, because there are general heuristics that we can talk about, cues that people should be using, right? I think what essentially happens is that as a beginner, you really need to learn a lot. You need to raise your fitness IQ. So you need to check your ego at the door, which is hard for a lot of beginners. You need to stop doing chest and biceps every single day. You need to focus on technique. You need to focus on full body. You need to focus on making sure, for most individuals, honestly, they're in a caloric surplus. Learn the fundamentals. As a intermediate lifter, you're already doing the heavy compound movements, your strength focus. It's time to take a look at the physique. Oh, what's going on here? I don't have an upper chest. Time to focus more on the incline bench press. This makes more sense now. But as a beginner, you shouldn't be doing that. You can't flex bone. And then as an advanced lifter, once you've been lifting for a long period of time, you could throw some of the stuff out the window. What I mean when I say that? Well, for myself, the squat, when you take a look at my high bar squat, it might not be 100% traditional, right? I might do things a little bit differently, but it allows me to lift the most amount of weight. And that comes from years of experimentation with my lifts, with my body, to find out what works right for me, but after learning all that information. So you might see someone that preaches a lot of different things. Oh, you don't need to track macros whatsoever. And that might work, but that person understands what tracking macro does, how it sets up portions, what that means. If you have no idea, you have no context, then that might not be good information. So I don't think there's a lot of bad information. I think there's bad information in the context of the individual. And over time, we need to find or gravitate towards information that will help us reach our goals. So if you're a weightlifter, follow obviously weightlifting information, bodybuilder, a strength lifter. If you're an iron enthusiast in general, then you need to be voracious with the amount of content that you consume, be able to differentiate what's important and what's not. And then at the end of the day, after learning all that information, kind of Bruce Lee style, when he talks about the 3 steps of mastery, where when you first start off, you have your innate form to anything, right? You have your technique, your thoughts about something, which are just built into you, right? And then the second step is to unlearn all that stuff and learn the form, learn the process of the technique, learn about tracking macros, lifting, all the very important things that you need to do. And then the final step of mastery is to be in a flow state where now that you know all this information, incorporate it with the innate things that you gravitate towards along with that form, and then find what works right then for you. And that is the general flow for most individuals. What you'll notice is there's a commonality of information for 90% of it, and we tend to focus on that 10% because it might make that difference, but sometimes we could get caught up in the details. So I don't think there's as much bad information as people talk about. I think there's just bad information in relation to that individual. So just be a little bit more aware. It never hurts to learn more information. That's why I am thrilled with Iron Culture, the podcast I'm doing with Eric Helms. We got a 2-hour episode all about the science of hypertrophy, the nitty-gritty advanced information. I'd say the information on this channel is for beginner and intermediate lifters. That's the whole goal, the function of the content that we try and put out here. And hopefully that explains it why 2 videos might seem a little different. So I want to say, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked the video, we're out here in the rain, slanging creatine. Like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace.
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.